The photo on my phone showed Agent Rebecca Morrison sitting in an office I'd never seen before. Behind her on the wall was a symbol, the same symbol I'd seen in Amanda's encrypted files. The symbol of the Architects Network. My hands shook as I looked up at Morrison sitting next to me in the car. She was watching me with an expression I'd never seen before. Not concern. Not sympathy. Just cold calculation. "You know," Morrison said calmly, still driving through Manhattan traffic, "I was hoping you wouldn't figure it out quite this quickly. I had at least another week planned before the reveal." Daniel, sitting in the front passenger seat, turned around to face me. His hand rested casually on his weapon. "Give me the phone, Victoria." "You're both in on it? Both of you?" "Not both," Morrison said. "Just me." Daniel's exactly what he appears to be, an undercover marshal trying to do the right thing. He just doesn't know he's been working for me the whole time. Daniel's face went pale. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the fact that for 6 years you've been my unwitting asset. Every case you built, every network you infiltrated, every criminal you arrested, all of it served my purposes. You eliminated my competitors while thinking you were serving justice." Morrison pulled the car into an underground parking garage. I recognized the location, a federal building in Lower Manhattan. But instead of going to the main levels, she drove to a restricted area marked "Authorized Personnel Only." "Daniel, I need you to understand something," Morrison continued as she parked. "I recruited you out of the academy. I cultivated your sense of justice, your desire to fight corruption. I sent you undercover knowing you'd be perfect, genuinely good, genuinely committed, genuinely believable. You were never fighting against the system. You were working for it. My system." Daniel's hand moved to his weapon, but Morrison was faster. She had her gun pointed at him before he could draw. "Don't. You're a good agent, Daniel. I'd hate to lose you over a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding? You're the architect. You've been running criminal networks for years. I've been running the most efficient justice system ever created. The official system is broken, plea deals for the wealthy, harsh sentences for the poor, politics infecting every decision. I built something better. A system where outcomes are determined by merit and payment, not by luck and bias." She looked at me in the rearview mirror. "Victoria, I need you to get out of the car slowly. Keep your hands visible. I really don't want to shoot you, but I will if necessary." Morrison led us through a series of security doors into a facility that shouldn't have existed. It looked like a high-tech operations center. Dozens of computer stations, wall-sized monitors showing case files and financial data, and at least 20 people working at various stations. "Welcome to the real Department of Justice," Morrison said. "This is where the actual work gets done." The people working barely looked up as we entered. They were reviewing case files, analyzing financial records, coordinating what looked like legal strategies. "What is this place?" I asked. "This is the nerve center of my network. Every major case in the past 5 years has been influenced from this room. Judges assigned to cases? We control the scheduling system. Evidence that mysteriously appears or disappears. We have people in every major forensics lab. Witnesses who suddenly change their testimony. We have a very effective persuasion department." She led us to a conference room with a massive monitor showing what looked like a flowchart of the entire legal system. Different colored lines connected judges to lawyers to cases to outcomes. "Sit," Morrison commanded, gesturing to chairs with her weapon still drawn. Daniel and I sat. Morrison remained standing, totally in control. "Let me explain what's really been happening, Victoria. 12 years ago, we identified you as a potential asset. Brilliant, ambitious, morally flexible enough to take David Kim's bar exam. We arranged that whole situation through Sarah Chen, who was already part of our network. Sarah worked for you. Sarah worked for Amanda, who worked for me. Layers of operation, each layer thinking they're at the top. It's how you build a system that can't be dismantled. Even if one layer gets exposed, the rest remains intact." Morrison pulled up files on the screen. They showed my entire career mapped out in detail. "Every major case you've taken was assigned to you by us. Marcus Chin? We made sure he hired you. Dr. Blackwood? We sent him your way. Even the clients who randomly called your office, random only to you. We controlled your entire career. Why? Because we needed someone with your specific combination of talents. Legal brilliance, ethical flexibility, and just enough conscience to be controllable. We cultivated you for 12 years, Victoria. Every success, every victory, every impossible case you won, all building your reputation for this moment." She changed the screen to show current case files. "There are 73 cases currently pending in federal and state courts that will determine the next decade of legal precedent. Cases about corporate liability, criminal justice reform, civil rights, regulatory power. The outcomes of these cases will shape American law for generations. And you want to control those outcomes. I don't want to control them. I already do control them. Judges who will hear these cases. Compromised or controlled. Lawyers arguing them. Part of my network or about to be eliminated. Witnesses. Prepared. Evidence. Managed. The only thing I didn't control was the timing of exposure. Morrison looked directly at me. When you started exposing corruption at your hearing, you eliminated my competitors. The syndicate's network is destroyed. Whitmore and Associates is under federal investigation. Amanda's operations are dismantled. Now there's only one network left in New York legal circles. Mine. Daniel spoke up, his voice shaking with anger. You're insane. You've corrupted the entire justice system. I've perfected it, Morrison corrected. The old system was chaos, whoever had the best lawyer won regardless of truth or justice. My system is predictable, efficient, and actually produces consistent outcomes. Yes, it requires payment. But so does the regular system. At least mine is honest about it. You're selling justice to the highest bidder. I'm providing a service that the legal system was supposed to provide but failed to deliver. Reliable outcomes based on clear criteria. Rich clients get acquitted because they pay for top-tier service. Poor defendants get railroaded because they can't afford quality representation. I didn't create that inequality, I just monetized it. Morrison turned back to me. Victoria, you exposed corruption at your hearing because I wanted you to. Every piece of evidence you presented, every dramatic reveal, every arrest, all orchestrated by me. The judges I had arrested? They were taking bribes from competitors. By having them exposed publicly, I eliminated rivals and reinforced my own control. So the Bar Association hearing was all theater? Not all. Your disbarment is real. I needed you out of official practice so you could work for me without Bar Association oversight. The 5-year suspension is perfect. Long enough to seem legitimate, short enough that you'll be desperate for income in the meantime. She pulled up a contract on the screen. This is your real job offer. Not from Whitmore and Associates, from me directly. You'll work as my chief strategist, helping me identify and cultivate new assets. Salary of $2 million per year, full benefits, and the satisfaction of actually making the legal system work efficiently. And if I refuse? Morrison's expression hardened. Then you become a loose end. Along with your sister, your friends, everyone you care about. I've built this system over 20 years, Victoria. I'm not letting one idealistic attorney destroy it because of misplaced principles. Daniel suddenly lunged at Morrison, going for her weapon. But Morrison was ready. She sidestepped smoothly and hit him with the gun, sending him crashing to the floor. I told you not to do that, she said, pointing the weapon at his head. Last warning. Don't shoot him, I said quickly. He's not the threat here. I am. Morrison smiled, finally showing some strategic thinking. Yes, you're the threat. Which is why I need you working with me, not against me. Daniel is easily controllable. He'll follow orders once he understands the situation. But you? You're the wild card. She holstered her weapon and sat down across from me. Let me make this very simple, Victoria. Join my network, and you'll have power, wealth, and the ability to shape legal outcomes for decades. You'll be part of something bigger than yourself. Something that actually works. I'll also be a criminal. You'll be what the legal system has always been, practical rather than idealistic. The law isn't about justice. It's about power. I'm just honest enough to admit it. I looked at the contract on the screen. $2 million per year. The ability to practice law again, even without a license. Power over outcomes that mattered. Everything I'd wanted when I first became a lawyer. I need to know something first, I said. The assassination attempts against me. The fake check, the witness tampering frame-up. Was that you? No. That was the syndicate trying to eliminate you before you could expose them. I was protecting you the whole time. Every threat you faced came from my competitors. I kept you alive specifically for this moment. And Amanda? Sarah? Were they really your subordinates, or were they independent operators? Both were part of my network, but they developed delusions of grandeur. Amanda thought she could build a competing operation. Sarah thought she could take over mine. I used you to eliminate both of them while appearing to be your ally. Morrison leaned forward. Everything that's happened to you in the past 12 years, every triumph, every defeat, every moment of fear, all carefully orchestrated to bring you to this point. You're the perfect asset, Victoria. Brilliant, compromised, desperate, and now fully aware of how the system really works. You're right, I said slowly. I am brilliant. Which is why I figured out something you don't know I figured out. Morrison's expression flickered with uncertainty. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that this facility doesn't exist in any federal database. I'm talking about the fact that the people working in this room aren't real federal employees. I'm talking about the fact that this whole operation is illegal, unauthorized, and completely off the books. I pulled out my phone, not the one Morrison had seen earlier, but a backup phone I'd hidden in my jacket lining. I've been recording everything since we entered this building. Every word you've said. Every admission of corruption. Every detail about your network. And 10 minutes ago, while you were explaining your master plan, I sent all of it to the actual FBI. Morrison's face went white. That's impossible. I would have detected any transmission. You would have detected a regular transmission. But Jake Morrison, my forensic analyst, developed a stealth protocol that piggybacks on security systems. Every word you've said has been broadcasting to FBI headquarters for the past 15 minutes. Daniel sat up from the floor, blood trickling from his temple. Victoria, is that true? It's true. Agent Morrison, or whatever your real name is, you're under arrest for corruption, racketeering, conspiracy, and about 40 other federal crimes. The doors to the conference room burst open. Real FBI agents, I could tell by their tactical gear and the way they moved, flooded in with weapons drawn. Rebecca Morrison, you're under arrest. Get on the ground now. Morrison looked at me with an expression of pure hatred. You can't prove any of this. My network goes too deep. I have protections you can't imagine. Actually, a voice said from behind the tactical team, we can prove all of it. A man in a suit walked into the room. He was older, maybe 60, with gray hair and the kind of authority that comes from decades in law enforcement. I'm Assistant Director James Crawford, FBI. We've been investigating Morrison for 3 years. Victoria's recording gave us the last pieces we needed for prosecution. He looked at me. Ms. Sterling, the Bureau owes you a debt of gratitude. Your cooperation has exposed the largest corruption network in federal law enforcement history. As agents led Morrison away in handcuffs, she looked back at me one last time. You think you won? My network has been operating for 20 years. Do you really believe you caught everyone? There are people you haven't identified. People in positions you'd never suspect. This isn't over, Victoria. It's just beginning. The facility was dismantled over the next 6 hours. FBI agents arrested 17 people who'd been working in the operations center. They seized servers containing evidence of thousands of corrupted cases. Assistant Director Crawford explained the situation as I gave my statement. Morrison was recruited by a foreign intelligence service 15 years ago. She wasn't trying to perfect the justice system, she was destabilizing it. Creating chaos, ensuring that American legal institutions couldn't be trusted. Every case she manipulated, every judge she corrupted, every attorney she compromised, all designed to destroy faith in the system. So she wasn't the architect? She was an architect. But there are others. This is a multinational operation, Victoria. Morrison's network was just one node. We've identified at least 4 other similar operations running in different jurisdictions. I felt exhausted. So it never ends. We expose one network, another one appears. That's why we need people like you. People who can't be bought, who won't be controlled, who see the corruption and fight it anyway. Daniel approached me, holding an ice pack to his head. Victoria, I owe you an apology. I should have seen what Morrison was. You trusted your boss. That's not a character flaw. It's what makes you a good person in a world full of bad ones. He smiled weakly. What are you going to do now? You're still disbarred for 5 years. I don't know. Maybe that's okay. Maybe I need time away from the law to figure out who I am without it. 3 days later, I was back in my penthouse, which I could keep thanks to the $5 million Marcus Chen actually did send me once the chaos settled. I was packing boxes, preparing to take some time away from New York. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Victoria Sterling? The voice was unfamiliar. Male, older, with an accent I couldn't place. Who is this? Someone who's been watching your journey with great interest. Rebecca Morrison's arrest was unfortunate but not unexpected. She was always too ambitious, too visible. A good soldier, but a terrible general. My blood went cold. You're one of the other architects. I prefer the term systems administrator. And I'm calling with a proposition. Morrison tried to recruit you through threats and manipulation. I'm trying a different approach. I'm not interested in joining any criminal network. Who said anything about criminal? I represent an organization that's been working to reform legal systems worldwide for centuries. We don't corrupt justice, we protect it from those who would. I don't believe you. I don't expect you to. Not yet. But consider this, Morrison's network operated for 20 years before you exposed it. During that time, how many innocent people were convicted? How many guilty people walked free? How many lives were destroyed by her corruption? I don't know. 17,342 cases were affected by her network. We've been documenting every single one. Every person wrongly convicted, every criminal wrongly acquitted, every family destroyed. Would you like to help us fix it? Fix it how? By using your legal expertise to identify the cases that need to be overturned. By helping the FBI understand which judges can be trusted and which can't. By becoming part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Why would you want my help if you're really legitimate? Because you've proven something rare, Ms. Sterling. You've proven you can't be controlled by money, threats, or manipulation. You've sacrificed your career, your reputation, and nearly your life to expose corruption. That makes you valuable. Not as an asset, but as a partner. I looked out at the Manhattan skyline, thinking about everything I'd been through. What's your name? Call me Director. And Victoria? I'm not asking for an answer today. Take your time away from New York. Process what you've been through. But when you're ready to fight back against the real corruption in the system, the kind that operates in daylight, the kind that pretends to be legitimate, call this number. He hung up before I could respond. I stared at the phone, realizing that Morrison had been telling the truth about one thing. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. Somewhere out there, multiple organizations were fighting for control of the legal system. Some through corruption, some through reform, some through methods I couldn't even imagine. And somehow I'd become a player in that game. My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. Always. I looked at the boxes, at the penthouse, at the city that had been my home for 12 years. I had a choice to make. Walk away from everything, start a new life far from legal battles and corruption. Or stay and fight, knowing that the real war was just beginning. And for the first time in 12 years, the choice was entirely mine.